I don't know that boy Choppa, but I do.
Everybody see YoungBoy ain't mess with nobody. The boy doing his thing. But NLE Choppa, instead of him doing his own thing, he said, you know what, I'm gonna attack this man, I'm gonna mess with him.
In the rap game, some beefs start from a single line, but this one really started from a whole blueprint being copied, studied, and flipped into a rivalry that got the internet locked in. Years before any diss track, NBA YoungBoy was that young star from Baton Rouge, turning pain into music with tracks like 38 Baby, and building a movement that had the streets tuned in every time a new upload hit. Watching from Memphis was a teenager named Bryson Potts, now known as NLE Choppa, hooping with his crew, freestyling in the neighborhood, and soaking in every move YoungBoy made like he was watching film on a legend.
Hey, bro, man, you be relevant, and I said what I said, bro. You need a like.
Y'all think I'm crazy. I'm the fool. Okay, watch how this shit pan out. And we really gonna see who really the fucking one.
NLE Choppa, listen to me. You can't go walk the runway with that little walk. You remember that walk you had? I think I'm a bad. You can't come back to that walk.
Wipe that spit off your face.
The energy, the melodies, the raw way YoungBoy talked about his life had Choppa locked in. And soon the influence started showing heavy in his own sound and image. Both even had rap names that felt related. Never Broke Again on one side, No Love Entertainment on the other. Two Southern kids trying to flip struggle into success while fans pointed out every similarity like detectives. Choppa was remixing YoungBoy records, dropping his own joints like Through the Rain, inspired by Through the Storm, and drawing symbols after drawing symbols, moving step for step behind someone he clearly respected. In interviews, Choppa named YoungBoy right next to Meek Mill and Lil Durk as his direct influences, speaking honestly on who shaped his style and mindset, and nobody could deny the connection. But that kind of open respect can turn sticky fast in this business, because the more Choppa climbed, the more people claimed he was not just inspired, but copying. And that talk slowly started turning a fan into a rival in the public eye. Comment sections turned into daily debates, timelines stayed full of side-by-side comparisons, and every new video or hairstyle switch became another reason to drag his name into that copycat conversation. At the same time, the industry kept lining them up like rivals without even saying it out loud, putting their tracks in the same playlists, feeding that unspoken competition between two young artists who had never even really sat down and cleared the air. Memphis has its own heavy legacy, from 3-6 Mafia to Yo Gotti to Moneybagg Yo, and some fans felt like Choppa should have leaned deeper into that Memphis flavor instead of skating so close to Baton Rouge energy, which only made the criticism louder. With every drop, the shadow of comparison grew, until it was not just about music, but about respect, identity, and territory. And that quiet pressure was the real start of the smoke that later exploded in front of cameras. Long before the first direct insult, the streets could feel that things were heading toward a clash, and once the internet senses that kind of energy, it never lets it go. Things really started tipping over in 2019 when the internet caught a moment that was never supposed to leave a casual Instagram live. NLE Choppa hopped on stream, just chilling, while his people in the background started talking wild about NBA YoungBoy, saying reckless stuff about his image and reputation while a couple thousand viewers watched it unfold in real time. Choppa kept telling them to relax because he knew the camera was on, but by then the damage was already done. The clip was screen recorded and the words were out in the streets for good. For someone like YoungBoy, who built his name off standing on what he raps about, hearing random voices in the background questioning his reality was never going to sit right, especially coming from a camp that used to show him love. That same day, YoungBoy hopped on his own live and brushed the whole situation off with a cold tone, throwing lines like "ain't no killer who," and making it clear the comments came from people who did not understand his life or his choices. The message was simple and sharp. He heard what was said and he was not laughing with anybody about it. From there, fans officially decided the two were beefing, and social media did what it always does, turning a few minutes of messy energy into a whole storyline that just would not die down. Choppa tried to put the fire out quick, hopping back on live while getting a haircut, repeating that YoungBoy was still his favorite rapper and that he wanted to make music with him, trying to show respect and calm everything down. He kept saying he wanted to rock with YoungBoy, but once a clip goes viral, the vibe is never the same again, and the trust on the other side usually does not come back. From YoungBoy's angle, the disrespect was already stamped, because when a rising artist lets that kind of talk happen around them on camera, it feels like a line got crossed even if they later claim they did not co-sign it. Then things got even more tangled when Choppa started linking with people who were already on the opposite side of YoungBoy in long-standing regional drama, especially when he dropped Gangsta Talk with Fredo Bang, a name tied to Louisiana tension for years. Fans swore they heard slick references in Choppa's verse, while Fredo tossed in direct shots connected to people from YoungBoy's world, and the internet instantly screamed that Choppa had picked a side without ever saying it out loud. Not long after, Choppa started dating YoungBoy's ex, Young Blasian, and that only turned the noise up more, with comment sections clowning that he was chasing YoungBoy's whole lifestyle, even in his relationships. One stream where Choppa played YoungBoy's song Uncharted Love around her ended with the live being cut off fast, and the internet roasted that situation like it was a comedy skit gone wrong. At that point, this was no longer just music talk. This had turned into pride, territory, and personal lines that made every move feel like a sneak shot. And both fan bases fed into that storm nonstop. By early 2022, things were way past subtle tension, and the whole rap world could feel it when the situation around YoungBoy, Lil Durk, and King Von had everybody on edge. DJ Academics fired off that tweet saying NBA YoungBoy was on demon time, and Lil Reese slid in saying that was nothing special, just another rapper talking tough on records like many others do. Instead of staying out of it, NLE Choppa jumped in with 3 simple words: "I stamped that," letting the world know he was siding with the Chicago circle instead of staying neutral. That one reply came off like a public line in the sand, and everybody watching knew it was only a matter of time before YoungBoy answered in his own way. The response came in the form of the track I Know, and even though he never used Choppa's name directly, the message was obvious to anyone who had been following the story. The record did not sound like a typical aggressive diss. It felt more like a cold, emotional warning delivered with a haunting tone that sat on people's minds long after the song ended. YoungBoy talked about a mother crying if things ever went too far, clearly touching on the fact that Choppa's mom is also his manager and a big part of his career, turning the lyrics into something that felt personal even without names being spoken. He flipped the old clips where Choppa said YoungBoy my favorite rapper into a twisted reminder, basically saying stay in that fan lane instead of stepping into disrespect. And that tone shook listeners because it blended melody with a quiet threat of consequences. In the hook, YoungBoy used dark, almost eerie vocals, talking about taking someone's energy and leaving loved ones heartbroken, and fans could feel that this was more about playing with somebody's mind than trying to sound the toughest on a record. He even turned Choppa's health and herbal wave against him, bringing up the moment when Choppa was pushing natural remedies and spiritual talk, and bending it into another angle to poke at his image like he was saying none of that could shield him from street realities if things went left. Young Blasian got brushed off in the lyrics too, almost like she never mattered in the first place, which made the situation feel even colder, because it showed YoungBoy was not stressing over anything tied to that relationship or the headlines around it. The bar that really froze the internet was when YoungBoy referenced what happened to King Von, hinting that someone could leave this world in a similar way, and even though it was music, the emotional weight around that moment made the track feel heavy and unsettling. At the same time, fans were looking at the bigger picture because this was more than 2 rappers trading words. This was Memphis energy clashing with Baton Rouge pride, 2 different cities with deep histories and loyal fan bases. On top of that, YoungBoy claimed on another record that he owns a percentage of United Masters, the same platform Choppa uses for his label, hinting that he could be getting paid off the same artist trying to go against him, which added another wild twist to an already layered situation. With all that history built up, NLE Choppa finally decided to step all the way into the smoke and dropped a full-blown diss track straight at NBA YoungBoy, putting everything into the rollout like it was a mini movie. The video came packed with choreographed dance routines, YoungBoy lookalike actors, wild scenes, and non-stop direct shots that made sure nobody had to guess who the target was. Choppa raised his voice, called names, and used every second of the record to try and shake the internet, clearly chasing that viral moment that would force YoungBoy to answer bar for bar. Visually, it looked expensive and carefully planned out, with lighting setups, extras, and a whole squad behind him, showing that serious time, money, and energy went into making this diss feel like a big event. Fans who had been waiting for a direct call-out were hyped, posting clips, flooding timelines, and tagging YoungBoy nonstop, trying to pressure him into dropping a full track aimed back at Choppa. For a lot of people watching, this felt like the moment where all the subliminals and tension would finally explode into a classic back and forth battle. But instead of meeting that high energy with equal aggression, YoungBoy went in a different direction that turned out even more disrespectful in the eyes of many viewers. He answered with Zero IQ Freestyle, a short track where only a few bars were really aimed at Choppa, and even those lines were delivered in a laid-back, almost lazy tone like he was barely thinking about it. He tossed out phrases like, "You not really slime, you not really G," and hinted that Choppa had never truly stepped the way he talks, but he did it casually, sliding the jabs between other random lines instead of building the whole song around the beef. The title alone, Zero IQ, felt like a slick jab at Choppa's decision-making, as if he was saying this whole move was not smart enough to deserve a serious response. The video matched that same energy, starting with raw, unfiltered footage, no heavy editing, no flashy filters, just YoungBoy in his natural space, pressing record like it was nothing special. As the track moved along, the visuals cleaned up a bit, but still kept that simple vibe, making it look like he recorded, uploaded, and moved on without losing a second of sleep. When that laid-back response got compared side by side with Choppa's high-effort diss, the difference in energy was impossible to ignore, and had comment sections laughing at how one-sided it felt. In the eyes of many viewers, Choppa had thrown a big dramatic punch while YoungBoy swatted it away like a small annoyance, and that imbalance became part of the storyline. Clips also surfaced of Choppa talking fired up after the freestyle dropped, saying YoungBoy was in trouble and warning that people did not really know what was coming, which made him look even more frustrated that the back and forth he wanted did not truly happen. Instead of the classic war he was clearly aiming for, he ended up with a calm, distant answer that made it seem like he was fighting for attention more than fighting for respect in this moment. From a strategy angle, YoungBoy's move showed a level of control that a lot of artists never reach, because sometimes the loudest disrespect is saying almost nothing at all while the other person does the most. In rap culture, fans love a clash. They want records thrown back and forth like punches. But YoungBoy picked a different lane, giving just enough response to show he heard the diss without pulling NLE Choppa up to the same level in the public eye. That low-effort approach hit hard because it lined up with the story that has followed Choppa for years. The idea that he has been trying to prove he belongs next to YoungBoy ever since the days of remixes, tributes, and public shout-outs. When someone spends big budgets, long hours, and serious energy on a diss, then gets met with a few relaxed lines and a simple freestyle, it sends a quiet message that can sting more than a full diss album. YoungBoy has already pushed through intense conflicts, legal pressure, and non-stop expectations from a massive fan base. So this situation likely looked like another attempt to use his name for shine at a time when he has bigger problems and bigger goals on his plate. Handling court cases, house arrest, family life, and business moves changes how a person chooses battles, and this time he picked calm dismissal over full-scale war, which ended up making Choppa look like he was chasing a reaction that never really arrived. Online, YoungBoy's supporters treated the whole situation like a masterclass in staying unbothered, dropping memes, jokes, and edits that made it seem like the diss track barely scratched the surface. They saw the freestyle as a power move, a way of saying this is not equal competition, this is a superstar brushing off somebody who used to study his every move and is still fighting to step out from under that comparison cloud. Choppa's fans held him down, but even they had to deal with the fact that the big back and forth they wanted never truly hit the way they expected. And that silence on YoungBoy's side after Zero IQ Freestyle felt like a quiet loss in the eyes of a lot of viewers. Now the spotlight is on what Choppa does next, because if he keeps swinging at a target that barely swings back, it starts to look like he is chasing another man's attention instead of locking in on his own lane. If he falls back and pours that same energy into his own music and growth, some will say he backed off. But the smart play might be to let the music talk louder than the drama and leave the comparisons in the past. This whole saga exposed the gap between someone whose legacy is already stamped and someone still fighting to secure that long-term respect. And it showed how control, silence, and timing can be more damaging than any loud insult on wax. If this deep dive into the situation had everything locked in, make sure to hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe with notifications on, so every time another wild story shakes the rap world, the new heat lands on the screen the moment it drops.